2019 was supposed to be Baker Mayfield's year. There were expectations for him to win MVP and even the Browns to make a Super Bowl run. The team added Odell Beckham Jr. to a receiving core that already included Jarvis Landry and David Njoku. There was also excitement because Baker Mayfield had played so well under Freddie Kitchens once he took over play calling as a rookie in 2018. Browns head coach Hugh Jackson was fired during Baker's rookie season after Week 8 of 2018. The Browns offensive coordinator Todd Haley was fired the same time as well. Once Freddie Kitchens was promoted as the play caller, we saw Baker Mayfield play at a very high level the latter half of 2018. Baker improved in just about every meaningful category for a quarterback, and this was a huge reason that Kitchens was named the Browns head coach in 2019, despite the lack of experience compared to other candidates. From the Browns standpoint, it made sense. Hey, we just invested a first overall pick in Baker Mayfield, who seemed to play very well under Coach Kitchens. Why don't we just make him the head coach? When Kitchens took over play calling, the Browns went to this RPO/quick hitting offense to play to Baker's strengths and hide the weaknesses of the team, mainly the offensive line. Now 2019 comes around and everything is looking good surrounding the Browns. They had this talented roster along with the second-year quarterback that looked like he was ready to put his name in the top 10 quarterback conversation. Well, for some reason, the Browns went right back to what was wrong with the team in 2018 and tried running this vertical offense with long developing routes, and it ended up backfiring big time. The Browns' offensive line in 2019, even 2018, was a weakness, and everyone knew that. Even with that knowledge at hand, Kitchens tried to run too many plays where they relied heavily on their offensive linemen to maintain one-on-one blocks for over 4 seconds. It clearly didn't work, and Baker was sacked 40 times in 2019. As for a comparison, Baker was sacked only 5 times in 8 games under Kitchens' play calling at the end of 2018. So how do you go from being on pace to be sacked 10 times in a full season all the way up to 40 times? I'm not sure if it was the inexperience of Kitchens or just him overrating his roster, but the whole plan was flawed. The funny part is, just like we saw in his rookie season, Baker played much better down the stretch. Baker and the Browns were flat out abysmal the first 6 games of 2019. Mayfield himself had an embarrassing 5-11 touchdown to interception ratio and was sacked a staggering 16 times in 6 games. Even Freddie Kitchens knew something had to change, so what they did was they went back to what was working for them the second half of the 2018 season. We started seeing more RPOs, more play-action rollouts, and some shorter routes to take pressure off their young quarterback. All of a sudden, the Browns started playing much better, and we were getting glimpses of greatness from Mayfield once again. The final 8 games of the year, Mayfield's numbers were a 60% completion percentage, 1,864 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 86 quarterback rating, 7.09 yards per attempt, 2 rushing touchdowns, and only 1 fumble lost. Those numbers started looking a lot better, and when you put them over a full season, you all of a sudden have a 30 touchdown year with over 3,700 passing yards and only 20 total turnovers. Those aren't MVP caliber numbers, but they're a lot better and still above average in my opinion. So now that we went over the past, let's look towards the future. The Browns hired Kevin Stefanski, who had been with the Vikings organization since 2006. Stefanski did not take on a major role until 2014 when he was the tight ends coach for 2 seasons, then coached running backs for 1 season, and the quarterbacks coach in 2017-2018. Stefanski was promoted to play calling duties with 3 games remaining in 2018 after John DeFilippo, the previous offensive coordinator, was fired. Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer wanted things done his way on offense despite being a defensive coach. With DeFilippo calling plays, the Vikings ran the ball just over 21 times per game. In 3 games with Stefanski calling plays, the team averaged over 27 rushing attempts per game and averaged a respectable 26 points per game on offense during that 3-game span. Zimmer liked what he saw and promoted Stefanski to offensive coordinator to begin the 2019 season. It didn't start too great in terms of passing offense, and there were some questions about Kirk Cousins through the first few weeks of the season, but by the end of the year, Cousins and the entire Vikings offense played really well. Throughout his first 7 seasons in the NFL, Kirk Cousins was the definition of average. His career 16-game averages to that point were 4,206 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, a 66 completion percentage, 7.6 yards per attempt, and a quarterback rating of 95. In just 1 season with Stefanski calling plays for Kirk Cousins, he had undoubtedly his best year in the NFL. His numbers were better in just about every category. In 2019, Cousins had 3,603 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, a 69% completion percentage, 8.1 yards per attempt, and a quarterback rating of 107.4. Now, Cousins did drop off in the passing yards department, but he became a lot more efficient. Another player that has had crazy efficiency in the past few years is Russell Wilson, and that's because Seattle loves to run the ball, and they run it well and they run it often. That's exactly what happened with the Vikings last season. They got a healthy season out of running back Dalvin Cook, and rookie Alexander Mattison was successful as well. The Vikings as a team in 2019 ranked 4th in the NFL in rushing attempts and 6th in the NFL in rushing yards. This, with a mixture of an efficient quarterback, made the Vikings very well-rounded and unpredictable. And that's why I'm excited for Baker Mayfield. Mayfield was my favorite quarterback in the 2018 class. I loved his story, his confidence, and of course the skill set from the quarterback position. He was crazy accurate at Oklahoma, had a good arm, could make throws on the run, and knew how to make things happen on broken plays, which is huge in my mind. This is no disrespect to Kirk Cousins, but I think we all can agree that Baker Mayfield has more talent than Cousins ever had. This doesn't mean that this is 100% guaranteed to work, because Baker still needs to make things happen, but what I'm saying is he now has everything he needs to be successful. In 2019, the things clearly holding the Browns offense back was the play calling philosophies of Freddie Kitchens and a below average offensive line. Well, now Kitchens is gone, and the offensive line, specifically the tackles, got much better. In free agency, they signed Jack Conklin, a 25-year-old right tackle coming over from the Titans. Conklin received a PFF grade of 77.9 last season and only allowed 4 sacks in 2019. At 10th overall in this year's draft, they took Jedrick Wills Jr. out of Alabama, who I think is the safest of the tackle prospects in this class. He will have to transition from right tackle to left tackle, but on tape he looked like the most consistent and best pass blocker out of the top names in the 2020 draft class. They added another tight end weapon to pair with David Njoku and Austin Hooper, who is a player that seems to be getting better every year. Of course, they still have great receivers in Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, and lastly, they still have a guy who might be the most underrated running back in football in Nick Chubb, along with Kareem Hunt as well. The 2019 Browns were flawed, but this 2020 team is a lot better, and if Baker Mayfield can make the improvements with help from Kevin Stefanski, then I expect a lot of good things from Mayfield in year 3. This isn't me saying he'll win MVP, but I expect a much more efficient season with less mistakes, less sacks taken, and most importantly, a team that's better at moving the ball on offense. That'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you next time.